Now we're going to look at a shoulder lock off of Keisakatame. Not something that I teach a lot, but a lot of judo guys like it, a lot of catch wrestlers like it. It's very important that we know how to defend against it. And the number one defense is don't ever let anyone get underneath your arm. If they can get underneath your arm in that Keisakatame position, it changes up all of the escapes. It's a really terrible position to be in. As you progress, you'll find that you get caught with this less and less, but white belt, blue belt, and sometimes moving into that purple belt range, you can get dominated and caught here, so it's important that we know what this is so that we can defend against it and look out for it. So I got to my side control position, and I've sat into my Keisakatame. It's important that we know what I'm talking about by keeping this elbow buried. We never want anyone to get underneath this space here or in between our elbow and our ribs here. Down here is a different story, but when we start getting into this space here, it changes everything up, all right? You can see that I've started to get underneath the tricep. This is just a light entry here, but nice and tight. So he knows that he doesn't want to allow me to get this arm to start stretching him out, right? I get in nice and tight here, you know, judo style, whatever, but he keeps this elbow in. So I get underneath it, and I'm going to start to apply pressure down. The goal is to feed this wrist behind my knee. Now, I do have some ability to shift my hips to get that, but you have to be very careful with this because it can come out of nowhere, all right? If you have tight shoulders like Mike, you're going to find that just the act of feeding the wrist underneath the knee will tap you. Sometimes you'll have to lift with the hips, and we'll go over that, but Mike's not going to be able to do that, so that's okay. So I'm pushing, right? And I lift. Look at how I did some of the work with my legs. I see a lot of people really try to get all of this, and he's really going to resist. Lock your shoulder. He doesn't want me to do that, right? So I have to be able to lift. You see how I did a little bit of the work here. From here, you can see his hand. I'm letting pressure off of him so he can lift his shoulder a little bit. You can see his hand is behind my knee. I do want to triangle my legs right here, and then the lifting motion when I get here is just going to be a pushing with the pelvis. Don't compromise your base. Don't really try to blast it. Just a slow pushing pressure with the hips, all right? So again, I'm here, I sat underneath, I'm pushing, I lift my leg to catch it. It's important that we do some of the work with our legs, not all with our arm, because I'm never going to be able to separate all the way. If he gets lazy with this arm and it's out here, I see a lot of people will step over here and you can push here, but ultimately this one is a lot tighter. Even though it's not in the crook of my knee, I can triangle my hips and I can push lightly with my pelvis. So again, I'm nice and tight, I'm pushing, I hook. You see that, right? Hook. I do tilt my back a little bit to get my hips up, control, lock, and push. Guys, it can be a really great submission, but make sure you keep your chin tucked, your chest angled towards the floor, and tight. Make sure that you lift your hips to get a little bit of the entry with your legs instead of doing it all with your upper body. If they resist to keep their hand in, cool, go for something else. This is one of those things that you don't force. If it's there, you take it.